most exciting sport in the world. The speed, the insane hits, the raucous energy of the crowds. No, it ain't badminton. This is an advisor's life. We're talking hockey. If you're in the world of junior hockey, if you've ever dreamed of making it to the NCAA or the pros, if you've ever wondered about the pitfalls and the costly mistakes that players and parents can make along the way, you're in the right place. Here to educate you beyond the smoke and mirrors, beyond the propaganda that leagues and teams use to manipulate you into making decisions that could cost you your career or your hard-earned money. We don't pull punches. This ain't a popularity contest. Just the real and the raw, no matter who may get their little feelings hurt. Disrupting the status quo. This is an advisor's life with your host, Joseph Kolodziej. Truth bombs coming in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, welcome to this edition of An Advisor's Life. I'm coming to you this time from beautiful Detroit, Michigan, where I've spent the last few days scouting the NCDC Combine in Hazel Park. So today we're going to talk about scouting, how it works, and some details that a lot of players and parents may or may not be aware of, and a little bit of advice for when you attend these league events or these showcase events that are coming up throughout the spring and summer. Now, legal disclaimer, this is not specific advice on what you should or shouldn't do with your specific hockey career. This is general information that we would provide any of our hockey talent management clients or anyone who we speak to on an initial consultation if they're looking for an advisor. So with that said, everything in hockey at every level, if you talk to people at the highest levels, everything begins and ends with scouting. There is no substitute for in-person views. In fact, I don't know anyone who's ever gotten an NCAA D1 scholarship by a coach watching him online. Everybody needs to pass the eye test. And with the eye test, and I was inspired to do this episode because of what I saw with players at this NCDC Combine in Detroit. And, it's actually disturbing about how little you guys know about what goes on at these events that you're participating in. It's not just an opportunity to go and play and, show who you are as a player. It's an opportunity to network, to make contacts, and to really make a name for yourself, because most of you guys who are attending these events haven't made a name for yourself. You're relative unknowns. You may be great players, but you may be playing in some smaller programs or programs that aren't very well scouted. So it's important that you pay attention to the details. And I'll give you an example. So yesterday, I was sitting downstairs and taking a break from the scout room and doing a little work on my computer. And I noticed some scouts talking to players and things like that. And in the table right next to me, there was a scout talking to a player and a parent. And he was talking about what their program offers at the NCDC level, the Premier and the Elite levels. And he was giving him a very well-rounded presentation about their program. And it was very professional. And the scout did a really good job. Now, he happens to be one of the tier three coaches, but he scouts for the NCDC team and he helps invite players to the NCDC main camp. So he's an impactful person in the NCDC. Anyway, the conversation went on for about 10 minutes, and they shook hands, and the coach uh, went upstairs to the scout room. Great. So I'm sitting there, and by the time the conversation ends, another assistant coach from another organization came, sat down, said hello to me. And he's sitting there with me, and this young player is talking to his father, and we both hear what the player says. And the player says something to the effect of, I would never play for that organization. Do they think I'm really only going to play for a premier team? I'm so much better than that. There's no way. If I'm not playing NCDC, I'm going north to Canada or I'm not playing at all. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But not knowing who's around you and not being aware of your surroundings, and you get results like this. It was about 20 minutes later, and I was back up in the scout room to get a cup of coffee. And the assistant coach that was sitting with me earlier when we heard this kid say this was upstairs sharing that information with the other 15 scouts that were in the scout room. So everyone knows this young man's name and everyone knows his attitude. And what you really need to realize is what happens in those scout rooms is scouts talk and they share information with each other. They talk about players all the time. It's not some great secret when there's a great player. We all know within the first two shifts of any game who's a good skater, and then we're looking at the details. But a very important detail that this young man missed out on was attitude. And if you're not always aware of your surroundings, you don't know who may be responsible for what in any aspect of junior hockey. So you better be careful. Save your comments for the car on the ride home with your dad. And when I come back after this break, we're going to talk about some things that you can do to stand out at a showcase or a combine. And I'll be right back.
When it comes to getting to the next level, there is only one name you need to know: hockey talent management. The gold standard in player advisor services for nearly 30 years. Helping players and families get to NCAA, junior, and professional hockey leagues around the world. When you are ready to really reach for your dreams, it can only be hockey talent management.
Welcome back. So I'm going to give you some tips about how you can stand out at showcases or combines. And the reason I'm going to give you these tips is because a lot of you are kind of clueless as to what needs to be done in order to get the scouts' attention at the highest levels. And this comes based on not just my 30 years experience of scouting, but the rest of our hockey talent management and junior hockey news staff, which we will be at every NCDC combine, the Western Elite showcases in Edmonton and Calgary. We will be at all three of the global showcases. We will be at all of the NA combines. We will be at the USHL combine. We will be at the Chowder Cup and a whole bunch of other little scouting events. And, and in our database alone, we have well over 10,000 players in there with notes. So that information is really important. And some of the things that you guys need to understand about these showcases is you're there to show what you do well. You're not there to try something new. If you're a shot blocking, stay at home, good first pass defenseman, what do you doing trying to rush the puck when that's not your forte? That's not what got you there. That's not what last season shows in your stats. You know, that leads to mistakes. Be aware of what got you there and do what you do best. We're not there to look at who gets all the fancy goals, blah, 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 blah. We're looking for who can skate, number one. That's the most important thing. And then we're looking for who makes the right decisions. Because if you can't think the game, you're not going to be able to elevate your game to the next level where everything is more structured. And thinking becomes a very large part of the game. You've got to know when to skate and when not to skate. You've just got to be a lot smarter. So play smart. Don't think you can go out there and hot dog through a showcase or a combine and you're going to be Johnny All-Star. Think the game correctly, play the game correctly, do what you do best. We want good, hard, accurate passing. We want guys who can read the play. These are the things that everybody is looking for. We don't care if your line mates can't finish. If you're a top end player, we already know that not everybody's going to be able to skate with you. We already know that not everybody is going to be able to keep up with the play. But are you making the right decisions? And that goes for forwards and defensemen. Be aware. Also, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I see a lot of guys walking around, and frankly, you look like bums. You come in, your hats are backwards, you're dressed in like, you're already on a team and you're just heading to practice at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, that ain't going to fly. You want to get to the next level? Act like you're already there. You don't have to wear a suit and tie, but dress appropriately. Make yourself look good. Take pride in not only how you present yourself on the ice, but how you present yourself off the ice. And here's a big one. And a lot about awareness, not just about your mouth and what you say in front of people or around people, but how you carry yourself, your body language. Bad body language on and off the ice will get you taken off of scouts' lists almost immediately. When we see a guy bang his stick on the ice because maybe he messed up a play or didn't make a play or someone else didn't finish a play, that's a red flag for us. And I've seen guys just get crossed out, right on the roster, crossed out, no matter what he did before. That's a problem. So if you take anything out of today's episode, take this. Be aware of everything and everyone around you. And act like it's the most important day of your life. Because these combines and these showcases have purpose. There are a lot of scouts there, and they're there looking for players. You never know where a tier 3 scout is going to be tomorrow. Because he could elevate just like you. He could be in the NCDC, he could be in the NA, he could be in the USHL. It might take a year, it might be 2, it might be 3. But if you ever disrespect someone, people will find out. So, I hope you found this edition of An Advisor's Life, if not educational, at least informative or fun to learn. And once again, I'm your host, Joseph Kolodziej. And if you have questions or comments, or if you would like more information, please feel free to email me at info@hockeytalentmanagement.com. Please like and follow us on social media. And until next time, I'll see you in the ring.
You've been listening to An Advisor's Life. Over the past 3 decades, Joseph has been on every side of the hockey business. Team owner, a general manager, a coach, a league vice president, a player, a family advisor, and an agent. He's worked with everyone from the NHL all the way down the ladder. He's seen it all. For over a decade, he's been writing a column on the Junior Hockey News. Everyone kept telling him, hey, do a podcast. So he's finally taken the plunge. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter at junior_hockey, on Facebook at Junior Hockey News, and on Instagram at The Junior Hockey News. See you next time with more truth bombs on An Advisor's Life.